from deaths of Disney employees to rides that have taken the lives of visitors. Let's talk about these and more only in today's video. So if any of you guys have seen my TikToks, then you know I'm pretty much exposing Disney. And I'm just waiting for a lawsuit. Just kidding, they can't. This is information that's out there already. And honestly, when I was younger, I would always be like, oh, Disney, it's the happiest place on earth. Nothing bad happens there. Wrong. You're being lied to. So let's expose Disney. Alright guys, starting this off, we have the mysterious death of Deborah Gale Stone. Debbie Stone was an 18-year-old hostess at Disney. She worked for the musical performance America Sings. It was a new attraction and it was quite innovative. Basically, the audience would be seated in a theater facing a stage, and after each performance, the theater would rotate. It was formerly known as the Carousel of Progress. So basically, America Sings had 6 stages. So the audience would rotate around each stage to see these 6 different acts. The whole performance was around 24 minutes long. So Debbie's job was to stand on the left-hand side of the stage and welcome the audience at the start of the show and then say goodbye to them at the end of the show. Now, Debbie, being a young teen, had a dream of working at Disney. So in order to save for her college tuition, she applied to Disney for a summer job. And her dream came true. She got the job she had always wanted. Little did she know how this would end for her. On the night of July 8th, 1974, Debbie Stone had an evening shift at America Sings. But just before her shift, she called her parents and told them she was getting engaged. They were so thrilled for her. Sadly, Debbie would never go on to get married. At around 10:30 p.m. during the last performance of the night, Debbie was killed. Debbie somehow got trapped between the rotating wall and the stationary stage wall. She was instantly crushed to death. And apparently the audience heard her screams, but they just assumed it was part of the show. In fact, there was a video uploaded to YouTube that claims to have been filmed on the night that Debbie passed away, and you can hear screams in it. That video is fake. Now, here's what doesn't add up. In one article, it says that the ride operators heard the screams and then rushed to the scene. That's where they found Debbie instantly. Whereas another article says that she was found after the show was done. So, which one is it? It makes a pretty big difference. To this day, no one knows what exactly went wrong. But, of course, there's a number of theories. Theory 1, Debbie was trying to talk to a coworker on another stage when the wall snuck up behind her. So if this is the case, then the coworker would have saw this happen, and the ride would have been stopped immediately and help would have been called. That doesn't make sense if she wasn't found until after the show, which a lot of sources say that she was found after the show. Theory 2, she may have attempted to jump from one stage to another, but then failed to do so. Theory 3, she was distracted and stepped backwards without noticing, or she tripped and fell into the area. And then we have theory 4, which comes from one of Debbie's coworkers. Apparently that day she was showing off her new engagement ring to others, and there was someone who was jealous of her. So then theory goes that she was pushed by this jealous somebody. Of course, this was never proved. Also, not much of an investigation could be conducted, because apparently her body had to be removed in sections, which is very disturbing. The ride was then only closed for 2 days before reopening. But the stage in which she died on remained closed for a year. Later, the stages were installed with sensory lights to warn operators if someone was getting too close to the walls. And then they also implemented breakaway walls. In case someone did get trapped, they could just break out easily. It's just still a very, very tragic and dark incident. And it's just sad that we still don't know what truly happened to her. Coming in at number 2, we have the hanging. So this is kind of like a Disney urban legend, but some people think that it's true. So one woman shared her very odd experience she had at Disney back in 1999 when she went with her family. So during her trip, in which she was 12 at the time, her and her family went on It's a Small World ride, which is creepy on its own. I'm sorry, but those dolls, it's scary. It's a small, yeah, no. Well, during the ride, it just stopped all of a sudden. Then the lights turned on and the moving displays with, the creepy children, they stopped operating. Safety lights came on and Disney employees wearing red overalls came to help everyone evacuate the ride. They just said that there was a safety concern. Nothing else was said. They were then escorted through the emergency exits and were told to remain looking forward and to follow the staff. After being escorted out, they found ambulances and police in the parking lot. But while this was going down, the girl's mom was taking photos. And in one image, she caught something very creepy. The mom took a photo of the ceiling by accident, and up hanging from the rafters, we see what appears to be a child hanging. Now, some are convinced that this is a worker that hung himself, and that's why they were escorted out of the ride that day. Others think that it's just a doll hung there to scare others, which seems more likely. But if that's the case, then what's the real reason that everyone was rushed out of the ride? And the last one I'm going to be talking about today is the deadly ride. This time I'm talking about the ride, the People Mover. The People Mover ride was a transport attraction that opened up at Tomorrowland at Disneyland in 1967. Basically, you would board a small train that would take you on a ride around Tomorrowland from above. It moved at around 7 miles per hour and it was only a 10-minute ride. However, a month after the ride opened, a 16-year-old boy tripped and fell onto the track. The oncoming train crushed him and dragged his body for a few hundred feet before stopping. That happened just a month after opening. But sadly, it's not the only accident that happened. In 1972, a teen fell 30 feet to the ground from the tracks. Now, this one was kind of her fault. So it was her and 3 other friends. One of the girls realized that she lost her mouse ears, so the girl and her cousin jumped onto the track to get them. One girl successfully got into another car, but the other couldn't, so she ended up running through a tunnel and out the exit. But then she fell into a guardrail and onto the concrete 30 feet below. As a result, she broke her arm, hip, and pelvis. Now, she ended up suing Disney for not having any warnings about the exit. Then, in 1980, another person was crushed and killed by this ride. And on top of that, over the years, there have been tons of lawsuits from people who have gotten injured on this ride. A couple named Heather and John Trujillo and their 2 children were on vacation at Disney when they got onto this ride. That's when it suddenly came to an abrupt stop in the darkness of the Space Mountain attraction. It was then struck from behind by a trailing car. This caused a number of serious injuries. And now a lot of people argue that this ride is unsafe. Need I remind you, it travels at 7 miles per hour. But they argue that more precautions and protocols need to be in place for it. Alright guys, that's all for today's video. Let me know in the comments below which of these facts shocked you the most. But yeah, that's all. Hope you have a magical day, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye guys. The People Mover ride was a transport attraction that... what did I say? Traction? Lord, I don't even know. Oh, 1967. I'm freaking stupid. And then people would come for me and be like, you got the date wrong! That sounded like the kid. Do the roar! Do the roar! Basically, you would board a small train that would take you on a ride, such as in June... One incident took place on June... A couple named Heather and John Trujillo.